Guess who's coming to Fivecast?
Hey, welcome back to another great episode of Fivecast. This is episode number 3 of 2023 right now. You know what I'm saying? I took a break. I probably took a damn 5-month hiatus because I've been doing so many different things. So I wanted to kind of get back on the grind again, but I was doing a little different, just not doing things in the studio. I want to go out to people now. I think it's better that way. So at least people can see what the environment or wherever the business or whatever it is, and you know, it promotes their business in other areas. You know what I'm saying? But hey, I met this man. You know what I'm saying? About a week and a half ago. Had a great conversation. We have a mutual, you know what I'm saying, a friend, and met Ronnie there, and we just started talking, and we were talking about some things, and I liked his energy. I liked the things he stood for. I like the fact that he was honest, because that's one of the things we don't see today. We don't see a lot of honest people. And honesty means that the person just, hey, you know, they're not really going to sugarcoat nothing. They're not going to make nothing up. It's just, it is what it is, you know, and then it's one of the things, you can like it or you don't like it. But without further ado, you know what I'm saying, we came into this beautiful location here, but I call him Big Ron. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you like Big Ron. That's cool, you know what I'm saying? Oh, man, Ronnie in the daggone building. What's up, Big Ron?
What's up, man?
How you doing today, man?
Happy to be here.
Hey, thank you for welcoming us in, man.
Thank you for
We really appreciate it. I know it's a Sunday and stuff like that, and I really appreciate it. You just don't know.
Dreams don't take days off.
Okay, cool. All right, could you just tell the people a little bit, you know what I'm saying, just a little brief synopsis about yourself, you know what I'm saying, to this point right here, and then we'll kind of jump into things.
Ronnie Byerly, just approaching 40 years old, been tattooing for 24 years, father to a daughter, husband to a beautiful wife, MF CEO of Kimura Tattoo Company, and doing what I can to thrive.
Come on, man. That's making some things happen. That's what it is. Oh, I do have a gift for you. I happen to know the owner of Inky Gang, and it's a clothing apparel line that's there to bridge the cultural gap between people understanding that ink doesn't mean bad, and they see people, you know what I'm saying, with ink, they don't have to run the other way. They can have the conversation. These are very intelligent people, but the mindset that was put out maybe from years ago, they think, oh, they're a bad boy or they're a bad girl, and that's not the case. And so what Inky Gang is doing is they're on a mission to kind of bridge that gap. And right. So on behalf of A-Dub, the CEO and owner of that, here's a shirt.
That's pretty cool.
And it's so funny that tattoos are about to tell the story, and that's what we're here for. Let's hear for a story.
Thank you very much.
You know what I'm saying? All right.
I want to touch back at some point on that.
Okay, we will. We definitely will. So this is how it works, Ronnie. We'll go back in time a little bit, okay? And it's really staying in a chronological order. You know, I'll pick a time period, and then we'll talk from that time period, and we'll just move up. And then, of course, it's going to culminate with the stances of those things to how you are now. Right. You know what I'm saying, and what those things developed, okay? So we're going to pick a number, okay? We're going to pick 11 years old. Okay. All right. So tell us about 11-year-old Ronnie. Where was he at, and what was his mindset at the time?
I put a lot of thought into this because you said that you were going to be picking a number randomly, and we'd be jumping back to a period of time in my life. So 11 was a very defining period of my life, especially because it was a similar time that my daughter started really coming into her own and understanding a lot of controversial things. And I had started a custody case and everything along those lines. So she really had to learn quickly as well. 11 is an age that I really believe a lot of children really start asking the right questions about things in life, you know, and for me, that was exactly what it was. My daughter, as a parent, I encourage her to ask questions. I'm not the law. I'm not, you know, just because I say it doesn't make it fact. I encourage her to ask questions and to come to intelligent conclusions. So you ask the right questions, you come to the right conclusions, and that's that. That's in my opinion the only way to intelligently go through life.
Right.
So for me, 11, my parents, my family wasn't great. My parents were the show Christians, the fire and brimstone. We show up to church, we do this, we say Jesus a lot, and we say all that, and that's being a good human being, right?
Right.
That's their opinion.
And what was it at in what city?
Littleton, Colorado.
Littleton, Colorado. Okay, got it.
So, 11 was when the abuse started the most. You know what I mean? And I just forever will remember a pretty defining moment of some, like the Mormon kids that are on bikes,
right,
going door to door. That's just part of their mission. They're just seeking joy, man. They're just doing what they think is right. Can't hate anybody for that. But they came to the door, and I opened the door, and we'd like to tell you about Jesus Christ and their church and their differences and everything. And I'm like, yeah, I'm listening. Let's talk, because I'm curious. My dad, it's, I don't know, whatever time of the afternoon, he comes through, he's all pissed drunk, starts screaming at these kids. They're fucking kids,
Right.
They're just doing what they think is right, And so, and I'm just listening because I'm curious, How can you believe in one thing if you haven't researched all the other options? It's blind, I'd rather know everything I can about every available option, and then I come to a conclusion that works for my mindset. Anyhow, he screams at these kids, slams the door, and then just beats the shit out of me, and that's just for asking questions, Anyways, that was where it really started. But that put in my mind so heavily that why is it that one human being can tell another free human being what they can or can't do, what they can or cannot believe?
Definitely.
How's it fair to force your beliefs on another person?
Right.
You know what I mean? I was a growing young man, I had to come to my own conclusions. Anyhow, that sparked rebellion. And pretty heavily, to be honest.
Right. So they kind of created the interactions probably with you and other kids and stuff like that.
Every way.
In every way?
In every single way. It created rebellion because at that point I was like, hold on, this is wrong. This isn't right. So, started trouble in school, I got in a lot of fights.
Right.
A lot of fights. A lot of trouble for that stuff. That was it. It was just a defining age because I came to the conclusion that I gotta figure things out on my own.
Okay. All right. So let's move on to ninth grade. And really want to say ninth grade because and a lot of kids, high school is a big transition. And so why? Because in a lot of cases they're dealing with older kids, a few years older now,
right,
versus being with people, at their level. So how was ninth grade?
Ninth grade got rough. The trouble got a lot more serious. I was real small growing up. So
okay.
Probably big Ron now. I was 5'3" at 17 and 6'3" at 18. I shot up, bones hurt. So I was a small kid.
Right.
I wasn't popular at all. I wasn't allowed to wear anything cool. I wasn't allowed to listen to any cool music.
Right.
I literally would take like a Petra or DC Talk Christian CD and put that over a Metallica CD and a Discman, so it looked like that's what I was listening to, just so I could listen to some kind of cool music.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Because again, it was all an image.
Right.
They couldn't be having some kid listen to Metallica out here. He must be following Satan or something.
Right.
Anyhow, 14 got rough. So that was the first suicide attempt.
Suicide.
Yeah. And that landed me in the Cleo Wallace Center in Westminster, Colorado.
So let me ask you, what made you, at that time period, what made you even consider suicide, if you don't mind me asking?
If you're just trying to come into your own and be yourself and, I don't know, figure out this life, and somebody's just damning you for it every day, and damning you to a point of abuse, it got rough. There's no way out. You're 14. I mean, there were several runaway attempts,
Right.
But, the police would always come, and every time I tried to get the police to help me,
You wasn't trying to hear it.
I was just some punk kid. You know what I mean? So, whatever. You see these things nowadays, and I'm like, man, it's really flipped.
Got it.
A kid could just say, no evidence, no nothing, say my dad hit me, and and they'll lock that dude up.
Done for.
Man, back then, I'm beaten and bruised and nothing. I'm just a punk kid.
So you say you went over to
Westminster, Colorado.
Westminster, Colorado. Okay, so now
juvenile detention, mental health facility thing, and I kind of view that the same as I view a lot of rehabs today.
Right.
Maybe they help some people, maybe.
But for you at that time, you just seen that you was just around other people
with the same problems, So instead of, you take a bunch of 14-year-old kids, 14, 15, 16, and they're all having suicidal issues, they're all having drug issues, they're all having, mental health problems.
Right.
And you shove them all together. man, that's a young mind. It's a
Come
bunch
on
of
now.
young minds. They're just going to rebel.
Right.
You know, and then they're going to figure out ways to do it all together.
They're going to plot it out.
And just the same way, like I said, adult rehabs now it's just networking. You take a bunch of people with the same problem. They meet each other. They're going to get out. You know,
Right.
they're literally there on their own free will.
True.
You know, they're going to get out and then they're going to relapse and they'll be like, man, I wonder what so-and-so was doing. You know, we connected. I got his phone number. Let's see. Oh, he's getting fucked up too. You know what I mean?
So what was that? What was that transition like? So you spent a couple months there. So now you go back to school.
Go back to school. And of course, you know, kids are shitty, man. So that right off the bat, I mean, we're talking like week 1, you know, was a problem.
Right.
Now, of course, you know, the counselors and the administration of a public school are like, well, you know, if you're having issues, you just
Right.
come talk to us. And that shit never works. And anyways, you know, I'm in art class and kid starts running his mouth at me and snap. And, you know, those wooden metal art stools,
Right.
pick one up and
Put it on them.
clean it. You know, that's felony and juvenile felony number 1.
So it's funny you mentioned art class. When did you pick that up?
Man, I've been drawing my whole life.
So even during those time periods when you were younger, you know, going through the things 11 and stuff like that,
Oh,
you
yeah,
was
I've always
you were
drawn. Started with Disney characters on my bed sheets, you know, just copying. But the irony is I got in so much trouble in school for always drawing and
just
doodling,
drawing.
you know, make a lot more than those motherfuckers now.
I got to hit the button on that right there. I had to hit the damn button on that one for real. And I know I'm probably cheating because we did a little bit of this before because we recorded. I messed up when we started, so I can be honest. I messed up, you know what I'm saying? So, you said 16? Something happened at 16?
A little bit before that.
Oh, okay.
But we'll say 16. My mom finally left my dad.
Right.
At that point, we were in a town called Weed, New Mexico, which is up the mountain, up past Cloudcroft, Alamogordo, New Mexico, where
Right.
White Sands Missile Range is. That picture on the wall of my daughter and I, that's actually from this last summer. And that's White Sands. I took her on a road trip because she was questioning about, you know, a lot of my past, where I come from and all that. So I took her out there and showed her, you know.
Man.
And I bought her a truck in Las Cruces. So
That's what you be driving on?
Yeah.
Okay, I seen it on your, on your Instagram.
we went out there to go pick it up and bring it back. Anyhow, my mom left my dad. Long story short, I guess she just chose she didn't want to be a mom anymore and left me on the side of the highway near Johnson City, Texas.
Are you serious, brother?
Yeah. And so that was tough. Anyway, I ended up walking to Wimberley, Texas.
I know what Wimberley is.
Right. And I caught a Greyhound bus out of there. So I caught that and went back to Aurora, Colorado, because that's the only place I knew anybody.
Right.
So, I mean, long story short, that was the beginning of the homeless years. So it started there.
And it was at 16 years old.
Yeah, I knew a lady that was a teacher at a school I went to in Littleton, and I was friends with her daughter. Realistically, I had a crush on her daughter, you know, but
Right.
was what it was. And she said that I could sleep on their couch. So I get out there, and you know, a couple weeks in, her daughter has been getting into drugs and stuff like that, hanging out, wrong crowd. Drugs have never been an issue for me. That's not a route I ever went down. I always stayed away from them, you know.
Right.
So it wasn't that. However, this woman blamed me because I was obviously, you know,
In her mind, a bad boy.
the inconstant variable.
Right.
You know, I was the disruption to the household, and fair enough. You know what I mean? Like, if as a father,
Right.
if that was the situation, that kid would be gone too. You know, so I get it. But long story short, I get back to the house one day. She had signed me into school. She had, you know, played as my mother and signed me back into Aurora Central High School. I was one of 3 white kids there, so that was interesting. You know, and that obviously the fights continued.
Right.
You know, I get back to the house and the handful of shit I got's in trash bags on the. You know, she's like, "There you go." So I try and figure it out. I find this guy in the newspaper up in Longmont, Colorado, that's got an 88 Z28 for sale.
Right.
And I get on the phone with him, and he doesn't know me from anybody. And he's just like, "You know what, man? I'll let you have it on payments, $150 a month." I'm like, awesome. You know, I catch a bus up to Longmont, and I pick up this car, and that's when I fell in love with, you know,
The car bug hit you.
yeah.
Muscle car bug hit you.
The car was kind of a piece of shit.
Right.
Actually, it was totally a piece of shit. but I loved it.
It was everything to you, though.
Yeah,
you know,
throttle body injected, 305 5-speed. And I lived in that car for the better part of 3 years.
hold on, Ronnie. I gotta hit the damn button. Hold up. So you went and got this car, $150 a month,
which I never even got to pay off. Eventually, he was like, "Man, I know you're living in it, so you can keep it."
Were living in your car, brother,
in Colorado. So
16, 17, like you living in this car
to 18,
making it.
I don't know about making it, but
no, you were making it, bro. I just have to tell you, you were making it. Like, how did you have the mindset? And I'm really just want to dig into the 17-year-old mindset of you being homeless and in your car.
Well, oddly enough, the passenger seat of a third-generation Camaro lays back pretty good. It's not right. It wasn't too rough, but the winter is what got rough out there.
So some of the things you would do.
So I got a graveyard shift job at Denny's in Aurora. So I'd work the overnight shift, and I could park there without the police bothering me.
Got it.
If I parked anywhere else, the police would be like, "You got to move it along. You can't be in your car." Whatever. At Denny's, 24 hours. And I could brush my teeth there.
Right.
I could do whatever. This gets a little funny. It's kind of sad, but it's sort of funny. But this is around the time NSYNC came out.
Right.
Okay. So I have super curly hair. All right. So I'm working the graveyard shift. I'm 16 years old. I worked the graveyard shift at Denny's, and there was a bunch of nightclubs in that area of town that was 16 and up. So these girls would come in afterwards and whatever, and I learned every song and dance to No Strings Attached album of NSYNC.
Get out of here.
So I'd be, I'd be serving them whatever, late night food, and realistically, some of these girls liked it. So that turned into me getting a place to shower here and there.
Okay.
And,
okay.
A little good feeling once in a while. And
the ladies' man round was born at that time, right there.
I was, homeless, but somehow or another figured it out.
Right.
Yeah. But it kind of got me by. This is also what led into tattooing. So at that age, I was riding in a car with a handful of other, degenerate homeless kids that were running around this area, and they were all doing drugs and stuff. I wasn't, but one of the other kids threw a Coke can out or something like that, and they hit another car. Right, and this car chases us down, and we're going back into Denny's.
Right,
and this grown man just punches me in the chest. He's mad about his car. No, I get it. I didn't throw the can or whatever, but punched me in the chest. Just a punch to the chest, not a big deal. But it's inside this business, so they immediately call the police. You know what I mean? I got a big welt on my chest and whatever. And keep in mind, like I said, I was real small back then. So
right.
That welt was like a whole peck. Police get there and they're like, "Well, where are your parents?" I'm like, "Man, your guess is as good as mine." And so this leads into a realistic investigation. And so they end up getting a hold of my mom and threatening abandonment charges on her.
Get out.
So my mom shows up in Colorado, a week or two later, and has to sign over guardianship to somebody. So there's a cook at Denny's, and this guy was a real piece of shit. His name was Joe. It's a Russian last name. I can't remember what it was. It started with a K. And she signs over guardianship to this guy. Never met him, never nothing, whatever. This dude did some bad shit to me, Like it was not cool. A lot of nightmares that still trickle in from that,
Damn.
Anyhow, before all the bad shit, he signed as my guardian to get my first tattoo, right?
Right.
So there was a tattoo shop in a mall across the street from Denny's, and that was the first tattoo, little tribal dragon on my right arm.
Right.
I was super badass. And anyhow, I started hanging out there a bunch. You know what I mean? If I'd already dropped out of high school. That wasn't working out. There was, it comes down to, am I going to have a little bit of cash and figure this out, or am I going to go to this high school?
Right.
And I hung out. I just go sit by the loading dock with them at the mall and smoke cigarettes and just try and hang out and whatever. I smoked cigarettes my whole life. I haven't smoked a cigarette in over 10 years now, but I'd draw. And they'd be like, "Man, you did that?" Yeah. Like, why don't you sweep the floors? and it just kind of built, you know. Anyways, things got so bad with this Joe guy, I ran away and ran away and ran away. All right, and kept getting out of there. And and this Kimura wasn't doing so hot anymore. You know what I mean? And when I say run away, I didn't live there, you know, but he had this like controlling nature.
Right.
I have to get away from him. Anyways, I run away to Fort Collins, Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And he files some stuff on me. He figures out that I'm working at the IHOP down there. Now, at this point, the Camaro's gone, right? And I got an 84 Trans Am.
Okay.
Same type of car.
You talking about, my man?
No, 84.
84, okay.
Yeah, you're thinking 78.
Okay.
I got one of those now. This is just $400 car, you know, whatever. Anyways, I'm pulling up to work at IHOP, and the brakes go out. So I run in the side of the building. All right, that's the end of that car. You know, that car lasted all of like 3 weeks, and I get fired, obviously. And at this point, I run because the previous times I tried to scat out, he had gotten child services or whatnot to force me back because he was my legal guardian at this point, right? So I run. I just leave it. I'm fired. Cool. I don't have shit anyways. I got a little duffel bag. That's it. And I go to Waffle House. You know, all these places obviously you can be 24 hours, and you spend 99 cents on coffee, and you can sit there for as long as you want.
Right.
And this girl, it's like, Ronnie? I'm like, and she's sexy, you know. And I'm like, Lauren? You know? She's like, yeah. Anyways, long story short, she's like, let's run away together. Let's go to Texas. I'm like, fuck yeah. I don't have anything going on. I will do whatever the hell you want to do.
Right.
You know? She's like, we'll be here at the same time tomorrow, and I'll pick you up. I sat there for a whole 24 hours, and she showed up. Anyways.
Lauren was serious.
Yeah, she wasn't messing around. She was like, we'll get married. We'll do all this. Da, da, da. We haven't even had sex yet. Right. But I'm like, whatever.
But how did she remember you?
We went to middle school together.
Oh, okay.
So, which is odd because Fort Collins is not necessarily close to Littleton.
Right.
You know, it's a little farther away.
Okay. So look at Lauren. Lauren had eyes on you back in the days. You know what I'm saying?
It was the titties that got me.
That's what got you.
Titties that got me.
You gotta keep it real.
Yeah. But at this point, you know, I'm closing in on 18.
Right.
Still 17.
Yeah.
And she picks me up in a little like Infinity sedan.
Mm-hmm.
Nice car for whatever, you know. And I didn't ask any questions. I should have. I didn't. All right. Anyways, we're passing through New Mexico. We get pulled over, and she had stolen her parents' car.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Yeah. So we get hemmed up, but she's 16, I'm 17. Her parents don't press charges against her. They just have her shit back. They press charges against me. So juvenile felony.
What?
Number 2. Yeah. So then I go to a juvenile detention center in Deming, New Mexico, briefly, and they release me to probation in Alamogordo, New Mexico.
Okay.
Keep in mind, this puts me back near my dad. Okay. Well, I'm avoiding that like the fucking plague.
Right.
You know. Anyways, I tell my probation officer, I'm like, I'm not going there. You know, you can lock me back up until I'm 18. You can do whatever. I'm not going there. You know. He's like, just get your community service done and be done with it. I was like, all right. So I do all that. I get it all done. I turn 18. He's like, well, I'm not going to release you to probation or release you off probation unless you join the military. You got to get your high school diploma and you got to join the military.
Right.
And I was like, great. I don't have shit else going on, you know? So I don't know how you expect me to get a high school diploma in a moment's notice. You know, I'm 18 now, and what do you want me to do? So I order a homeschooling kit online and just fill out the shit and send it back, and they send me a diploma. So I legitimately forged my high school diploma. All right. It was easy. It was like $150. And the probation officer's name was Ronnie Reyes, right? He was like, well, I'm really impressed. That was good job. I'm like, yeah, no problem. High school, you know. Anyways, and he walks me through every branch of the recruitment office in White Sands Mall. And Every branch says no because of the juvenile record.
Mm.
You know, keep in mind, this is pre 9/11. You know, I feel like it probably would have been different after that.
I don't even see how they can hold it against you. That's weird.
They did.
Juvenile. That's sealed at that point.
That's what they say.
That's weird. I'm just saying. I'm looking at it from the other side of the wall.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's weird.
So, declined. Anyways, tried it. He's like, well, you know, maybe I'll just get out of town because at this point I got a bunch of little speeding tickets and stuff like that. I didn't really do anything bad, but you know, I was running around with a handful of hooligans and whatnot. Some of them turned out to be really good friends that are law enforcement and everything else now. You know.
Well, you know how they say the best people in those professions are the ones who were doing things as
Understood
a young,
the other side.
You know, it's just the way it works.
So a couple that was previously stationed at Holloman Air Force Base there in Alamogordo, he got transferred to Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio.
San Antonio, okay.
So that's how I found my way to Texas, ultimately. Anyways, they were really good friends. They were, you know, great people, but I wasn't making a lot. The small tattoo shops I was trying to work in out there weren't doing
Right.
good. I had a mechanic job in the morning, and it wasn't a lot. I found a better job with somebody else I knew that had moved from Alamogordo to Houston.
Okay.
That landed me in Kingwood.
Okay.
And so I got a job there. This is right before 19. As a mechanic, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., and then tattoo shop from 8 to midnight, or 8 to 2 a.m., and I did that.
So you were just grinding.
No days off, no nothing.
Just going at it.
Yeah. If there was a day off from one job, I was at the other. You know.
Well, let me ask you this: during that time period, in your mind, what was your goal? Because you were doing this for some reason.
My goal was just to eat.
So it was just really just to survive.
Trying to figure it out.
Okay, got it.
The thing is it took a little while to build up a reputation with tattooing because I was a low man on the totem pole, you know, and the other guys that were doing the walk-ins, they were more experienced, they were doing it faster. So I was really just trying to like make something. Finally, I got fired from my longer term mechanic job,
Right.
for hitting my service manager. I promise you, he deserved it. And so I picked up a job building small race engines, like Rotex motors for jet skis and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Right. And so this was a defining moment. This was 20, 21, right around that age. I didn't even start drinking until I was 21. I stayed away from everything.
Right.
You know, I didn't want to have a part of it. But the fuel fumes inside the hull of a jet ski, there was a fuel leak. So I'd rebuilt the motor. I'd cleared out the hole, fixed the leak, all those things. And I let it dry out for a day. Come back the next morning to check the spark, and kaboom. You know, so the whole thing explodes. Blows me back like 18 feet. Just, you know, gas fumes burned into my skin, all hair's gone, everything like that. I was blind for about a week. And that was where I was like, I'm done. I'm going to go to full-time tattooing.
Right.
So I did. And then I started getting kind of popular.
Mm.
You know?
So was it a certain shop you were working at that time period, or was it just something you were just doing
Yeah,
remotely, going to people?
At that time period, I was at a place called the Magic Needle in Humboldt, Texas.
Okay.
They've been through a couple locations now, but
Right.
they're still there. The owner of that place was a real mentor to me. You know, unfortunately, we didn't see eye to eye on some
Right.
things once I had my daughter, and
Right.
you know, we had to part ways. But then it got to where I was making like, you know, a couple $100 in cash a day.
Mm.
You know, low rent, a couple $100 in cash.
Come on now.
You know, that's
Fun.
yeah. You know,
You know, fun.
yeah. And you think about
And you're young. You're 20, 21 years old at that time period. You
yeah,
know?
yeah. And you got to think, you know, I went from, you know, my mechanic job was like $350 maybe every 2 weeks. It wasn't a lot.
Right.
You know, you're getting paid $7 an hour for hard
Right.
labor all damn day long. To all of a sudden a couple $100 in cash daily, from ramen noodles and scraping by to, man, I could afford to have a drink at this bar.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And then keep in mind, at this point, I'm a little bit bigger now and all that, and a little popular with tattooing. That pussy and that alcohol, man. That shit'll wreck your life.
Hey.
You know what I mean? Man, it will wreck your life. And that's just exactly what happened. You know, I got hung up with women, You know, started having drinking a little more than I ought to.
Right.
But still, you know, I kept grinding every day. I let influences in my life that didn't need to be there.
Right.
And motorcycles, they became a really big problem.
So what was your first one?
First one, I had a dirt bike, you know, but
I'm talking the first street bike that you.
2001 Yamaha R6.
Okay. Ooh, so you like that speed?
Got it off of eBay. And lo and behold, a friend of mine and I I was 21
Right.
and 7. We ride a wheelie from the Lake Houston Bridge all the way to 59. So about 7 miles, about 11 stoplights. And, you know, we got good at it. I could turn in a wheelie,
Right.
do all kinds of stupid tricks and, you know, dumb shit.
Hey man, you sound like me, man.
Hurts. It all hurts.
Ooh, you sound like me, Lord. You sound like how it was.
Yeah.
You know.
Anyhow, set the wheelie down. You know, it's been 7 miles when I look over at my buddy Ray,
Right.
and we look back behind us, and there's about 8 squad cars. You know, I'm like, damn it. I look at him, he's got this look of failure in his eyes, and I'm like, damn it. You know, because we had a system, we would just kind of split them up, and
Right.
you know, get back to the house and be done. You know, like
Yeah.
we did all the time. Anyways, he just pulls over, and I'm like, you son of a
no,
bitch.
we don't do that one.
I needed you, you know? Anyhow, I scat hard on the highway, and
Right.
there's this loop called Townsend that goes around back to 1960.
Mm-hmm.
And there's all traffic going the direction I'm going.
Right.
You know? Can't be having that. So I get in the opposite lane,
Yeah.
you know, and just pack that turn
Work it
about
out.
120 and hope to God the car doesn't come. you
Right.
know? Anyways, I make it. I lose this cop. I'm gone. And then I hit 1960, and it's like a launch, right? And I'm moving. I bend the forks on the bike, or whatever. Still don't wreck yet. Take a left on First Street, and I'm moving. And
Right.
some lady in a Tahoe pulls out in front of me. And I go right through the back window. And it just tears me up under the truck. And she was on a bunch of Xanax. She didn't even know I hit her, right?
Yeah.
So she drags me under the truck, up back onto 1960, and my bike's caught fire. My ankle's broken. My legs burning, and drags me under this car for quite a while.
What?
Probably about a quarter mile. And somebody pulls her over because there's flames pouring out the back of her car. The bike's on fire, you know?
Right.
And anyways, I get up to try and run, and
But your ankle that says no.
my whole body says no. I'm covered in road rash, you know, rocks.
Right.
Yeah, it's a lot. Anyways, cops get there and beat the piss out of me.
Ooh, they put it on you.
Oh yeah. So that's 21.
So, hold on. 2, did you hear the transition in this voice? Yeah, I just got rolled up and everything. They beat me. And, so that was 21. You know what I'm saying?